Here's an interesting thought that Jesus made. John chapter 12, in verse 49, he said, "For I have not spoken of my own initiative, but the Father who sent me has himself given me a command about what to say and what to speak." Now, you could say, according to that, Jesus had speaking authority limitations, didn't he? He had no authority to go beyond what his Father had taught him. He had no authority to teach others things that originate in his own mind and heart. He wouldn't go beyond that. He had authority limitations. Well, even more so, shouldn't that be true of us? We have no authority to give our opinions on matters. But we have to make sure when we speak that what we say is solidly based on the scriptures and what's been provided by the faithful slave. But now let's go to our second area. We can learn modesty from Jesus.
Now, in Deuteronomy 4, chapter 4, verse 2, well, starting at verse 1, it says, "O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them." Jump down to verse 2. "Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish out from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you." Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20. "To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them." Revelations 22, verse 18. "If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book." Now, Peter First Peter 4:11. 1 Peter 4:11. "If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God." I'm going to repeat that. "If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. And if any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which God giveth, that God in all things may be glorified through Jesus Christ," or Yahweh a Mashiach in the Hebrew, "to whom be the praise." Now, 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 4:6 says, and these things, brethren, I have in a figure transferred myself unto Apollos for your sake, that you might learn in us not to think of men above that which is written, that no one of you may be puffed up against one another. Do not think of men above that which is written. You see? And we're going to add Psalms 119, 104. Through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. Through thy precepts I get an understanding. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 9 and 10. Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Precept must be upon precept. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. Okay. Psalms 111, chapter 1 of Psalm chapter 111, verse 10. Fear the Lord thy God, the fear of the Lord. I repeat, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding all they that do his commandments. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. Okay? So to have a good understanding, you have to do his commandments. Not say that the commandments is done away with. In the verse from Apostle Paul's mouth, that's from the Lord's mouth, Romans 3:31. Do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yea, we establish the law. We establish the law. Romans chapter 2:13. For not the hearers of the law are just of God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. You see? Now, these Jehovah Witnesses love talking about a faithful, discreet slave. If it don't come from Bible based, if it ain't Bible based on the Bible, no, it ain't no based on the Bible. It has to be an oracle of God. Precept must be upon precept. It can't, if it ain't to the law and to the testimony, there's no light in them. You don't add to the word or take away from the word. You see? And right here, Luke 1:16, it said, and many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Lord their God. You can't take away from that and try to say that he came to turn the world to God. No, he came to turn the children of Israel to their God. You see? So you're not speaking your own words, but you see Jehovah Witnesses, they would come and tell you about some faithful slave. You can listen to the faithful slave over the Bible. It got to be Bible based, or listen to the faithful slave. But you brought out the precept to say Christ didn't have authority. Christ didn't even have authority to speak his own words that originated out of his mouth. He coming to speak the words of God. Now, same thing with John 3:16. He was quoting two scriptures in John 3:16. Let's bring this out before I go into this faithful slave, to give you an example how Christ did not come with no new thought of God loved the world and he done with the Israelites. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Now, he was quoting Isaiah because he understood that he didn't quote something that come out of his mind and his heart. He was quoting the words of who they ignorantly call God, but his name is Yahweh, and his name ain't Jehovah. His name is Yahweh. He had a Hebrew name, not no Edomite created name. So, pretty much. And so in Isaiah 45:17 is what Yahweh Shah was quoting. He was speaking through the oracles of God and to the law and to the testimony. Isaiah 45:17 say, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation, everlasting life. You see, going on, he say, ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. World without end. Israelites was a world without end. So in John 3:16 he say, God so loved the world that whosoever believed in his Son that was from that world will have everlasting life. And to get deeper understanding, he gave you another precept to let you know that it was talking about the children of Israel. Because in verse 14 say, and as Moses, that means the same way Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so, that's another same way, must the Son of Man be lifted up for the children of Israel. The same way. And just like in Luke 1:16, he came to bring the children of Israel to their God. He didn't come for the whole world. Matthew 1:21, he said that when the angels say he was going to be born to save his people and to turn them away from their sins. So these Jehovah Witnesses try to talk about listen to the faithful slave. No. First of all, it's a requirement to even be a faithful slave. Now, when you go to Matthew 24, verse 45, we're going to start at verse 45. Who then is the faithful and wise slave, whom his Lord has made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Who is these people? Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. So, let's keep going. 47. Verily I say to you, that he shall make him ruler over all his things. So, when is the faithful slave gonna get made ruler over all his things? Go back to verse 45. He say, whom his Lord has made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season. He say, in verse 46, he say, blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh. You see, when he come, that's when he gonna make him ruler over all these things. There's no faithful in the street slave on the earth right now, because he haven't came. When he come, that's when he gonna make this person the faithful slave. It is no faithful slave on the earth. It do not exist. It's a bold-faced lie. He's not speaking as the oracles of God. These Jehovah Witnesses is not speaking as the oracles of God. They add into the word. You just added that to the word that you can listen to some so-called faithful and discreet slave before the Lord cometh. It's only going to be a faithful and discreet slave when he comes, because it's a qualification of how you survive. What did he tell his 12 disciples? Is it in Matthew 13? He gave you a situation that you had to qualify to for you to even make it in these last days. Might be even in 24. You had to make it to the end. There we go. 24:13. Matthew 24:14. But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. See, you have to endure until your master come, till your slave master, Jehovah come. Until he come, then he gonna tell you you a faithful and discreet slave. Not no before he come, you gonna be the faithful and discreet slave leading the people. No, that he done gave you food to give to his people at the right time. No. The faithful and discreet slave is the one that's found doing what they supposed to be doing, preaching when he come. He didn't set them up over nobody before he came. Cause when he come, he gonna give them he gonna give them rulership over everything. But he haven't did that yet. So you have to survive until the end to even be found as faithful. If you ain't been faithful to the end, you can't qualify as being faithful. You can fall out at any time. That's what these people talking about. I'm saved. You talking the same stuff that Christianity, Trinity believing church peoples, that Jesus is God. That don't even care about no oracles of God. You talking like them, and y'all identical. Y'all identical Edomite twins. That's what y'all are. Because you have to endure to the end, and you have to be, okay, let me go to my last verse. I'm going to have to, the Apostle Salaki, I'm going to end it on Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the traditions of men, according to the rudiments of the world, and not after Yahweh. You see, they coming with philosophy. A philosophy is that the children of Israel is done away with. You don't got a precept for it, and you don't got precept upon precept for it, and you ain't speaking through the oracles of God, and you ain't going with the law into the testimony. You coming out of your own vain, deceitful mind, your own philosophy, some tradition that you was raised up on, because you don't got no concrete evidence through the scriptures, and nobody has authority to add to the word or subtract to the word. Nobody gave you authority to create another language and call God by another language. Nobody gave you that authority. But I'm going to leave it there. It's more to come. All praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem and Kakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Death to America. Death to these red dragons. Shalom.